Good afternoon. In the last 5 years, I have converted from making a traditional sandwich bread to making an Italian bread, which is it's a much higher hydration bread dough. It doesn't require first rise, although sometimes I do it. And the bread turns out ridiculously soft without additives, without fat and sugar. And I like that. I also like that I can open bake it with a lot of steam and I can get a nice big holy crumb. Okay, here, come here for a sec for me. Can you give this to Joanne? Hang on a sec. For example, my Italian bread loaf. Can you give this to Joanne, please? Thank you. Tell her I'm sorry, I forgot to tell her about it. Thank you. And the whole thing is just glorious. It's awesome. Crusty crust on the outside, big holes on the inside, and I like that a lot. I have not wavered from it more than one time since perfecting my Italian bread. It is now my starting base, and I work everything from there, and that's what is posted in the description. Is my starting base at 80% hydration, and it's a lean dough, no added fat or whatever. We're gonna use that to start. We're gonna convert it to a bread dough that uses mostly eggs as the base. Isn't that gonna be fun? First thing we're gonna do is boil some water. So I'm from the United States, and I'm gonna tell you what this method has to do with the United States. In the 1800s, before commercial yeast, bakeries would use something called stock yeast. They would not only use sourdough starter to make their bread. Hi, Banana Sunday. Thanks for joining me. So a lot of people say, oh, before commercial yeast, everybody just used sourdough starter to make bread, and that's not true. Stock yeast was made using hops, which imparts vitamin C, because hops are a good source of vitamin C. And what happens is they would boil the hops flours into a tea, and they would pour this boiling water over spring flour, which would be hard spring wheat, and barley malt, which is sprouted barley grain, right? It's going well, thank you. And so when they did this and let it ferment, the hops prevented certain types of bacteria from proliferating, whereas in sourdough, the type of bacteria, right, in particular lactobacillus, they are encouraged, but in stock yeast, they are discouraged by the hops, and then the yeast takes over. All right, so several things came from this. We have vitamin C from the hops, the barley malt, right, and what they use in Japan or China, known as udane. But in the United States, I call it udane because the United States was doing this kind of thing too. We just don't know about it because it was in their stock yeast. Okay, so first things first, we need to mill our flour. And I am at the bottom of the bucket on my hard wheat. So we're actually gonna make this bread using spelt, because I have a lot of spelt. So 400 grams. There's 300 grams of spelt. And we'll do, I know, right? Isn't it amazing? I love how history shows us things when we look back at it. And I hated history when I was in school. Well, till college. I had a really good history professor in college. And now I love looking back to say, oh, I'd love to see how they made bread in the 1800s. That would be so cool, right? Because they milled their flour back then, and guess what? So are we. All right, so I did 100 grams of durum. If you're going all ancient grains, use kamut or emmer instead of durum. They are durum's ancestors. And we are going to mill the flour. Our kettle just finished. And so what we're going to do is use a technique similar to the 1800s by mixing 20 grams of flour with 40 grams of boiling water into a paste. And we're going to use that in our bread. So that's what I'm going to be doing while the flour mills, just so you know before it gets loud in here. Also, let's take a note for safety. Earplugs. Mills are a loud appliance or kitchen tool. We need to protect our ears. Got it? Okay. Turn on the mill first, pour in the grain second. That's the sign to turn it off. All right, so now we have 400 grams of nice, beautiful, fine flour milled in my Nutrimill Harvest. If you like those, I can put a link in the description for you. It's fantastic. All right, now, we have this mixture. This is exactly what I was talking about. The boiling water that would have been poured over the hops, except we're skipping hops, okay? First of all, I believe that I may be allergic to hops. My daughter is. You got a tummy ache? Oh no. I'm not sure where the digest end is. Do you know? Oh, it's in there. Perfect. Can I rub that on your tummy for you? Or do you want to do it? Oh, that's what I was looking for Daddy. Here. Give 2 of these to Daddy. Okay. All right. So, 280 grams of water would go into our bread, but we want to try eggs. Okay. So let's. One more? No, we start with 2.
No, because I lost one.
Oh. Okay.
He's asleep when I give him.
Yeah, make sure he swallows that down with some water. All right. I have the fortune of using some goose eggs, which are going to weigh a lot more than chicken eggs. But you can use chicken eggs. Let's see how much 1 egg is. 115 grams. Okay. So let's do 2 big goose eggs.
Mom, do you have chips?
Chips? Probably under there.
Under this?
Under the counter where the grains are. Yeah. There's probably a bag of chips in there.
Yep.
There you
It's
go.
the kind I like.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Either the small plain or the spicy.
Okay.
I think.
Good to know.
I don't know.
All right. So it's plain. You can take it with you. There you go. Thank you.
Big bag.
Yeah. All right. So we have 258 grams of egg, and we need 280 grams to start. Now, there's going to be a trick to this. Normally, I would...
This.
Okay, I'm on the video right now. Take that in the other room. Okay. Normally, I would add this to my cold water, but we can't do that. When you add boiling hot Udane to egg, it's going to cook the egg, right? Right. So, what we could do is add 20 grams of cold water to our Udane, and that will cool this down and get us to the right amount of water. So let's zero that out. Okay. It's okay if we go over by a couple grams, no big deal. Let's get that mixed up. Okay, said high of the, wow, yeah. So, I'm sorry, I have a hard time seeing the text on there. It's super small. I will try to look as I'm doing this. Mostly I'm just playing in my kitchen, and if somebody gets to learn from it, bonus points. Okay. All right, looks like breakfast cereal now. And it's now not hot anymore. So we can add this to our egg mixture. Okay. And what the Udane mixture does is it helps keep liquid in our bread. It helps make it extra soft, but so does egg. All right. Now, we've got a couple more ingredients to add to our bread, don't we? We need to add salt, yeast, and I like to add a little bit of vitamin C for that added bendy flexibility of bread. I like a good flexible slice of bread. Can you tell I just woke up from a nap? There we go, 8 grams. I can put this over here now. And then our yeast, instant yeast, is what I'm using. Same, 8 grams. Okay. Because we're adding extra fat, we could up this. But what I'm not doing is adding sugar. I don't add sugar to my bread anymore. We can always put it on top. There are rare occasions that I will do that. And then our vitamin C in the way of lemon juice. Okay, no, 8, yes, 8. And if you look in the description, I have this base. And you'll see me say 280 grams of water. But what is the substitution we made for just water? Well, the substitution is that we replaced most of the water with egg, and then we topped it off with water. And we're gonna see what happens with that. Let's add our flour. Flour, water, yeast, salt. That's how we make bread. And usually the yeast and the salt are around 2%. 80 grams. 80 grams. Did I say 80? 8, I'm sorry. 8 grams would be of the yeast and the salt. And now we're gonna add 8 grams of lemon juice, same as the salt and the yeast. It makes it really easy. I'm sorry, I'm pretty, ouch, sleepy still. Ooh, I cut my finger and the lemon juice is burning. Ouch. I didn't realize I had a little cut there. And if I get seeds, I just toss them to the side, or I pick them out during the kneading. You could pick them out early if you like, but now it's just kind of a fun thing I do. I'm like, oh, found a seed. All right, so we went a little over 10 grams. That's okay. When you're off by grams, it's like being off by a penny or two. Not a big deal. Okay? Flour, water, salt, yeast, vitamin C, and we replaced most of the water with egg. Eggs have fat in them. They have lecithin in them, right? This should be a very interesting loaf of bread. Okay, so here's my mixer. I do use the Zacme 7-quart mixer. The 5-quart would do fine as well. It'll take longer if you mix on speed 3. The 7-quart automatically sets the speeds depending on the hook, the attachment that you're using. So dough hook is selected here, and the highest speed that it will allow is 6. So 6 is where I usually end up because we want our bread done sooner. And this is the starting point. Oh, I can turn the camera around, so let me show you what I mean. Okay. Here's our dough being mixed in the mixer. See how it's coming together pretty quickly into a dough ball? That tells me that I could add something. I could add a little bit more liquid to that. Okay? And we are going to start by adding a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to use this Seasons extra virgin olive oil today. I know I normally use Casandrinos, but this has tasted pretty close to Casandrino's. It has a little less spice to it in the throat, right? Zero rancidity, which is fantastic. Because once you taste really good extra virgin olive oil, you can taste rancidity in other ones really quick. So we're going to put 20-ish grams of extra virgin olive oil in there. And let that mix up. And now we have a really nice enriched dough, okay? So lean bread dough, your something is at 16. It's green. What is that? Why is it so teeny tiny? I can't see. You love eggs. Awesome. Okay. So we're just gonna let this dough mix. Oh, let's kick it up to 6. Let's get it going, right? And that dough's looking pretty good. I don't know that I want to add any extra liquid to that. It hasn't turned into a dough ball just yet, and that's what I'm looking for. I don't want to see it turn into a dough ball right away. That tells me it's too dry. Okay. And spelt doesn't hold as much water as hard wheat does. So if I make my bread with hard wheat, that's where you're going to see me go up to like 90, 100%, 110% water compared to flour, because it can just hold that much. It's actually kind of awesome. This is going to be a very pretty dough. So we are done with the scale. Unless I decide to make rolls or something like that. Put that in there. And we're just going to knead this dough until it cleans the bowl. Okay. So that's where we're at. Yeah, cooking is so fun, especially if you know the methods. That has helped me so much. Okay. So it was maybe 8 or 9 years ago where I was on Facebook and I saw it kind of looks like peanut butter. I always say mashed potatoes, but peanut butter is probably a better description. I like that. Till we saw someone doing a video of tips, things that chefs know that home cooks don't. And I watched it with my oldest son. He's 25 now, but he was not, you know. Oh gosh, it might have been 10 years ago or something like that. Anyway, we watched this video, and it was all about how to saute your food and using the heat on the stove and knife skills and whatever. And it was so good, I was just like, wow. And my son looked at me and he said, Mom, you should take that class. And aw, 10, that's so cute. My youngest is 7, so not far off, but yet that's such a big difference. And so I bought these cooking classes. So the guy was called Chef Todd Moore, and he does web cooking classes. And you're 8? Wow. Look at you making some bread. That's great. You should give this a try sometime with your mom. Or whatever parent you're living with, right? Yeah, so I learned how to cook using methods, which means it's a set of directions. If you know the set of directions and things to look for, you can make whatever you want without recipes. And that was like so freeing, to be able to cook and to bake without having to use a bunch of recipes, and to know that they will turn out. And with bread, you do have certain ranges for ingredients that are going to be important. or the bread's not likely to turn out. And so that's why I start with the base, and then we modify it from there. Okay. And we have not cleared the bowl yet. We're at 6 minutes. It's still looking pretty mashed potato-like, or peanut butter-like. I like your directions is also how you get somewhere. Right, you have to follow a set of directions. And if you go somewhere, you know, maybe you make a different turn, but you still know, I started here, I'm going here, it's in this particular direction, right? And if you know that and you get lost, you're better off getting back on your path and making it to your final destination. Okay, I might add just a tinge more water. Let's see. $17. We'll drizzle this in. I might have to scrape this bowl down. I think the egg is making it stick to the bottom. I'll show you what I mean. See that? It looks like it's sticking. Almost in 3rd grade. Wow. I mean, thank you for coming on to my video and learning about the bread. Need water? Hey, I got water right here in a cup. There you go. Love ya. You want to say hi? You want to wave? Say hi? Over here. Okay. Alright, yeah, math's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to pause this and just scrape down the bowl here.
Mom?
Yeah, bud.
I'm thinking of making my dad an egg that'll help his brain.
Well, why don't you ask him?
Dad, does your brain hurt still?
Okay. So I'm just going to scrape down the sides, make sure that the dough hook is definitely able to get all of this dough. It definitely feels tougher than any of the dough that I've worked with before. So this is kind of interesting. And it is a total experiment because I've not done this before. I like that. Okay. So there are a couple things that will stop the gluten from developing or slow it down anyway, and one is fat and one is sugar. It makes the bread more tender, but it also can slow down getting to window pane, which I will show you when we get there. This bread's probably going to be really good. I have my oven preheating a while. Let's see here. I can see little bits over on this side, over on that side, that are starting to clean the bowl down lower. Yeah, right? And can you see how it's kind of starting to stretch a little bit around the bowl? It's still very tough, probably from all that egg. We'll see how this goes. I don't really know myself. Okay. Now usually I need the base for the Italian bread for 6 minutes. Turns out really nice and soft and stretchy and amazing, right? This still looks to me a little bit tight, so I'm going to add a little bit more water. Another almost 20 grams. A little bit at a time. That's looking a little better. I think it just needed a little extra liquid. And I think I'm going to scrape the bowl down again. That would be the downside of egg in your bread, is that the dough really sticks. Egg is sticky dough, right? Okay. There we go. And this is what it looks like right now. Okay. Shall we carry on? I say yes. I'm gonna wash my hands off. Going to Oklahoma, that's exciting. That's awesome. Seeing different places. What's my favorite TV show? Ooh, Hudson and Rex. It's on the Up Faith and Family channel. It's about a German Shepherd and a police officer. The German Shepherd's, I guess, partner had been killed, and they normally don't keep the dogs after they've been in service with one partner, and he wanted to save the dog. And they solve crime together, and we love to watch that show. Rex saves the day most of the time. Sometimes they save Rex. Starting to look a little better. I think I'm gonna put a little bit of butter in there. Don't you think butter's good? Maybe that'll make it a little less sticky. I'm gonna do about a tablespoon. Okay. I was careful to drop it in without putting my fingers in the bowl. We don't want to injure ourselves or lose a hand by putting our hands in there when it's running. That would not be good. Okay. Let's see, what's your favorite? SpongeBob. Oh, I don't let my son watch SpongeBob. I don't like how he talks sometimes. I think sometimes they say, you know, things like calling people stupid and stuff like that. And I think the world is harsh enough that I don't know that I need him to see those kinds of things. He already sees it outside with some kids. But he likes SpongeBob too. I just don't let him watch it. I'm that mom. Alright. Have you ever seen flour milled before today? that first part where it got really noisy, that's where we turned wheat berries or spelt berries into flour. And in the old days, they used to do it with really giant stone mills. And now you can do it in your kitchen, like with a cute little mill. It sits on your counter. We're getting there. We're getting there. I think I might give this dough a rest. Let's see. That's what it looks like. Now, I'm no quitter, okay? So we're gonna keep this up. 6 plus 4, that's about 10 minutes of kneading. Let's pause that. Now let's just take a look at the dough. Okay. 10 minutes is a long time to knead a dough. I'm gonna wet my hands so that the dough doesn't stick to them as much. And that lets me clear off the dough hook. We are using spelt, so who knows? I could have messed it up. Let's clean the bowl. Okay. That's still hard to do. It's a very wet, sticky dough. Ugh. Yeah, I'm gonna let this dough rest. And we're gonna come back later and see how it looks. And maybe it will have absorbed some of the stuff sooner. Yep, 6 plus 4 equals 10. You're good at math, that's for sure. All right. So this looks very messy, and I'm not too happy with it, but I'm gonna keep it up. Let me show you what the dough looks like. Oh, we got a bit of a stretch here, but see how it's falling apart? It doesn't want to stay. That means our dough is probably a little too hot. What's my favorite music? Ooh, I love Christian music. My favorite is probably right now Leanna Crawford. I really like her music. How about you? But I like all kinds of music. What's your favorite? You like Christian music too? Is that what I'm seeing? Mine is Nirvana. Oh, wow. Okay. I used to listen to a lot of Nirvana. Back in high school, I listened to Nirvana. Yeah. So I guess someone you know who's older listens to Nirvana? Or is it making a comeback in the younger generation? Usually it's somebody older, like maybe your parents or aunt or uncle or something like that. Although a lot of the high school kids are listening to that stuff. I forget what it is. My daughter's 22. She said something about my sister likes Nirvana. Oh, that's cool. Okay, I take it she's older than you. Yeah. What's your favorite song by them? I know, right? That my daughter's 22? Is that what you said wow about? Yeah, my son's 7. My daughter's 22, and my older son is 25. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna let this rest and see if it'll absorb some of this liquid. Yeah. Marigold. I don't know that I've heard that one. So what I'm gonna do is cover my bowl with a shower cap so it doesn't dry out. All right, and then I'll probably come back on here later and finish up my experiment, but I'm gonna let this rest for at least a half an hour and see if it changes in texture. Right now I don't like it at all. Okay, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you later.